Hi there, I'm Nick, a former Amazon bar raiser, and in this video, I'll answer the question, can you repeat your answers in your Amazon interview? The short answer to this question is no, you cannot, but I'll also give you 3 different exceptions where you should repeat your answers, in fact, where you must repeat your answers to increase the likelihood of you being hired. But first things first, let me explain why you must not repeat your answers during your Amazon interview loop. The reason is that Amazon collects behaviorally justified data for your performance and compares that data against their hiring bar. If you elevate that bar, Amazon will hire you. If you don't raise the bar, they will not hire you. Amazon will determine whether you raise the bar or not by evaluating your prior professional accomplishments in your career so far. The way they will do so is by employing what's called a fractal behavioral interview method. This means that a number of people, a group of people, is going to interview you, usually 5 people, is going to interview you one-on-one. And each of those people is going to be assigned by the hiring manager a very small number of areas to focus, usually 2 or 3 areas where they're going to drill deeply, and they're going to spend the full hour of their one-on-one interview asking you behavioral and functional questions to evaluate if you raise the bar on these 2 or 3 areas only. Then, when those 5 people get together to debrief about your performance the following week after your interviews, they're going to compare their behaviorally justified analysis and hire versus no hire recommendations to each other across these 2 or 3 areas per person, which in totality equals to about 10, 15 areas in total. And that will give Amazon both a very deep perspective of your performance as well as a very broad perspective, because no 2 or 3 areas are going to overlap. So you see how the whole process is built on the premise that these interviewers need more and more information and data from you to compare against their bar for each of these areas that they're evaluating you on. And if they collect enough of that information from you, they're going to give you the thumbs up. If they don't collect enough information, or if the information they collect shows that you're below the bar, they're going to give you the thumbs down. Because what's going to happen if you repeat your answers, let's say you give the same 5 or 10 answers over and over again, when people get together, they're not going to have enough information to stand on. So they're going to say, well, Nick is a decent candidate, for example, but he's given us the same 7 things over and over again. Because we don't have enough data, we're always going to prefer to make a false negative hiring mistake, meaning we're always going to prefer to not hire a good candidate instead of hiring a bad candidate, which is a false positive mistake. We're always going to prefer making a false negative hiring mistake. We're going to pass on this candidate because we don't have enough data, and it's going to be a no hire. That's going to happen to you 9 times out of 10 if you use the same examples over and over again. Therefore, you should prepare 25 or 30 examples, accomplishments, failures, be ready to answer functional questions, and make sure that no 2 people hear the same answers from you in the loop. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there are 3 exceptions to the rule where you actually must repeat your examples during the loop. I know it's a bit of an oxymoron and it goes against everything I've said so far, but you must know about these exceptions as well in order to do well in your loop. So here are those 3 exceptions. Exception number 1 is you can repeat all of the answers from your phone screen during the interview loop. When you get to the interview loop stage, your performance so far in the Amazon interview process resets. So by the time you get to the interview loop stage, you would have been through the resume stage, the online assessment test stage, and the phone interview screen stage. And whatever data, whatever examples you've provided up to that point, they all reset. You are all good to reuse them in your loop again. There are a couple of caveats to this exception. Caveat number 1 is do not use the same answer from the screen with the same person from the screen and the loop. Meaning you can reuse your answer, just use it with somebody else who has not heard it during the screen already. During the screen, you're going to speak with the hiring manager most likely. Do not give the same person the very same answer that you gave him during the screen during the loop as well. Okay? That's one exception to the exception. And the second exception is that if Amazon for some reason asks you to have 2 separate or 3 separate screens until they get you to the loop, do not repeat your answers across those phone screens. Make sure that you give Amazon different data. I explained the reason why already. All right, the second exception of where you must reuse your answers in the Amazon interview is you can repeat your writing exercise answer during the interview loop. Amazon will usually ask you to submit a written response to a question and a behavioral question. And it's totally fine for you to reuse that answer during the loop. When you do, you should just declare to the interviewer that, hey, the answer I'm going to give you, I used as the response of my writing exercise, my writing assignment with you. Is that okay? And 9 times out of 10, the interviewer is going to say, absolutely, go ahead, let me hear it again. And exception number 3 of when it's okay to reuse your answers is when you answer the questions, why Amazon, and tell me about yourself. Those are the only 2 questions in the Amazon interview that have the same answer over and over again. I've described how you answer both of these questions in different videos on this channel. Please take a look if you'd like. But why Amazon? Why do you want to join Amazon? And tell me about yourself have the same answer over and over again. You are who you are. Your reasons of joining the company are the same. Your experience so far and telling people about yourself is the same. So do use the same answers again and again and again. You're likely to hear the tell me about yourself question in every interview. Every person is likely going to start the interview as an icebreaker with the question, tell me about yourself. And you're going to hear the why Amazon question maybe twice, at least once, maybe twice or thrice during the loop. All right, now that you know why you must not reuse your answers in the Amazon interview, and you also know the 3 exceptions where you must reuse your answers, you're ready for the next stage as you prepare to interview with Amazon. The next stage is to watch this video right here, where I take you step by step of how to land your dream Amazon job in a 7-day challenge. Watch this video here next, and I'll see you there real soon. Good luck.